Hello and welcome to Women's Stories. This is a platform where women get the opportunity to tell their own stories from politics, from education, fashion and style, their career, and all the topical issues that affect women. Now, rape means an act of a man having forceful sexual intercourse with a woman or girl without their consent. In Nigeria, the penalty for rape under the criminal code is typically life imprisonment. In some cases, particularly those involving children or specific aggravating circumstances, the penalty can be more severe. Rape is on the increase in Nigeria and has become a concern. Do victims really get justice? How many victims report rape cases? What should we do to reduce these troubling numbers of rape cases in Nigeria? I'll be joined by Dorothy Njemanze. She is indeed a human rights activist. But before we have on the show, I have a victim here with me who would like to share her own story. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'd like to give you the opportunity to just take us through your story. Tell us what happened and how it happened.
Okay. So, at the age of 7, I was sexually abused by my dad. I told my mom about it and she said, I'm just a child, I don't know what I'm saying.
Your biological father?
Yes.
Okay.
So, at the age of 8, my mom saw when my dad was sexually abusing me. She took her phone and wanted to call my dad's people, but my dad begged her, so she forgave him, saying that she was trying to protect our marriage. So, it happens for good 9 years.
9 years.
Yes. And I was not open to their orders because my mom was like, she was never there for me, so who am I going to look up to? Most of the times I get beaten by my dad just when I don't let him in to have his way. So he always beats me, and when my mom is very angry with me, she'll be like, I don't blame you, it's because we're eating from the same plate, that is why.
Your mom says that to you. At what age at that time?
Always, she always says, from the age of 7, when everything started, yeah, she always used to with me. Yeah, so, at the age of 15, I had the courage to tell someone what was happening to me. So,
How was that person related to you?
from school,
Okay.
yes. So I told the person, the first question she asked was, are you sure it's your biological father? And I said yes. So that was how I got to know Dorothy Njemanze Foundation. Yes. So the last time I heard about my case was last year's when the native took the case to Niger Police Command. Yes, that was the last time I heard about the case.
So where is your father now?
It's working fully out there.
Hmm. And the case has been reported to the police. Like you said, NAPTIP is also
Yes.
handling it. But he's still living his life like a normal human being.
There was a particular point that Nati called me and asked me to pray for my mom because she was pregnant. And I was like, why are you asking me to pray for my mom? Like, my head was. So when we were even going to that Niger Police Command, I had to go and sit in the same vehicle with my dad. Like going there.
How does that feel?
So it's like we opened the wound that was trying to heal.
Hmm. So now, where is the case? Do you have an idea what authorities are doing?
No,
So that means you haven't gotten justice.
it's not.
And I was also told that you have some injuries. Is it that he inflicted them on you, or how did it come about?
Yes, so I have this journal where I write down the dates of when he raped me. When there's blood, when he started with fingering, when it's very painful, and in the process of trying to rape me, he's always giving me this, calling me names. So it's written
Mm.
down there,
Names like what?
like you're an idiot, you're so ungrateful, and my dad, yeah. Even the first time he saw my journal, because I wrote about my stories, he tore it and he said that I was trying to spoil his reputation because he's a minister in the church.
Hmm. So let's say some of these cars that you have. Hmm. What kind of instrument does he use on your body? Is it knife? Is it cane? Is it stick? What exactly?
Cables.
Cables,
Yes.
electrical
Yes, he's
cables.
an electrician, so
Oh, I see.
he has them.
Hmm. And then I also think that your mom did not do well. Like she wasn't helping the situation.
Yes.
All she wanted was to protect her own marriage.
Because I think last 2 weeks Monday, she came to the office and she said that she wants me back home, that the Lord has changed my dad. There is not a changed person. So I don't think she's thinking about me. She's actually thinking about her marriage.
Are you the first? Do you have other siblings?
I'm the first one, and I have 3 siblings.
Are they girls or
One
boys?
girl,
One girl.
yes.
So how are we sure that your other sister being in the same house with him will not fall, the same victim as you?
I'm not very sure.
So what do you want the government to do in intervening in this matter?
I want justice. Because my dad being out here is, I don't think it's safe for others because he's working like a free man and everybody is seeing him like a normal person. But for me, it's not normal.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your story.
Women across Africa are yet to tell their stories. Join me, Kunarimam, as I bring you women's stories where African women tell their intriguing, interesting, and authentic stories. Stay with me.
Welcome to Women's Stories. Of course, the platform just gives women the opportunity to tell their own stories. And you've heard the story of a victim who hasn't gotten justice. In fact, justice is still very far from her. But again, I'm now being joined by Dorothy Njemanze. I haven't got to know the story, so you guys have to really bear with me. I have a human rights activist, Dorothy Njemanze, who's here with me. She has been handling such cases. I wonder the kind of strength that she has because I can really relate. Dorothy, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me on.
Now, we've heard the story of this young lady who has shared a very pathetic story of her life. And you and I know that this will live with her for the rest of her life. The damage that people who have been raped have to endure for the rest of their lives. And then you have always been at the forefront trying to see how you can help victims and then help them get justice. But let me start by asking, why do you think a lot of people don't report rape cases? Because trying to find data from the internet, it was very difficult. I couldn't really come up with anything. So first of all, people don't report rape cases. Why do you think so?
Well, rape is broken trust. Many times. You trust that your environment is safe and it's okay to go out, and then people feel, you know, they should tamper with you. You trust that it's okay to, you know, be in the same house with your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, and they feel that you're better suited for sexual activities.
Hmm.
Or without um, having sex from you, you're not going to be sent to school, or you don't get your job opportunities, or whatever it is. So rape is broken trust. When you see the newspaper adverts or the whatever adverts online that says come here for an interview, you're going for an interview. You're not going to fulfill sexual fantasy. And so the trust that made you embark on that journey, when people convert it to other things, then it is broken trust.
Hmm.
Rape is a power play. The power dynamics that are exploited can never be ignored. People prey on vulnerabilities. So the person who needs a job is vulnerable because the person needs a means of income. And so the vulnerability to exploit is the desire to have a job. The vulnerability to exploit is the desire for a safe place for a child, or access to school, or a recommendation letter to get a better job, or whatever it is, you know. Or also, the vulnerability could be that woman who is trying not to look like a bad woman to society. So her husband rapes her every day, or her boyfriend rapes her every day. Because consent, once consent is absent, then it is rape.
But I saw a clause that women cannot say their husbands rape them. So if a man
Wherever that
that
clause
is
was
married to you, when a man that is married to you forcefully penetrates you, that is not said to be rape.
then what would it be? Glory. See, whatever honor harm is done to anybody is still harm.
True.
And whether it is corrective rape or it is marital rape, rape is rape. There's no, there are no ways to it. See, me na street girl, and on that note, Porsche don't catch you before, but you don't Porsche before you know that shit.
Of course.
The Porsche.
Yeah.
The one we call Porsche.
Porsche. Yes, I know it.
When
I've
you want
experienced
to
it.
pull that very watery one, that thing does not respect anything.
That's true.
It's even worse of once you sight the door that you are supposed to open before you get to the toilet. Then it looks as if there's it's very not patient. But no matter how that thing catch you, no matter how pressed you are, if you go and about to set yourself just to release and you see something that looks like a tail, that is the only thing I'm aware that can reset that moment.
That's true.
Because you don't want anything to bite you.
True.
So all your senses that have given up to the pressure of the the situation in which you are, and they get defensive immediately.
Exactly.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Remember that the toilet is built to receive anything that you can put in it. So if you have moments where you can care for an inanimate object, how dare you not care for the human beings with emotional beings with human rights that you call your partners? And so anybody who says a man cannot rape a wife is a rapist. Is an enabler of rape. And should be punished by the law.
I remember
because it's very triggering, especially what it tells you, what it reminds us of is the fact that you refuse to recognize women as emotional beings with human rights.
That's it.
If the money is paid as bride price is going to be your justification for raping me, by all means, all the women in that category are trafficked. That becomes trafficking. So it means that there is money collected in exchange for the freedom or the liberties of another person.
That's true.
So do you have a wife, or do you have somebody that was trafficked to you? Is that your lover, or is that your trafficker? Yes.
Now we're looking at after going through my research on this very topic, I now realize that proving rape is also another big concern
Mhm.
because when you report a rape case, there are questions that are dehumanizing, that are judgmentally asked questions that, first of all, destroys your psyche
Mhm.
and brings you to nothing. And at the end of the day, you will not even be able to move on with the case. So tell us how you, first of all, take your victims to the police, which is the first point of call, and how you get treated by the police before you take the case to the next level.
Several issues, one question. Difficulty in proving rape. Is it really difficult, or we just are lazy? Or we just, would rather not get emotionally entangled with the realities that could traumatize us. And so it is safer to victim blame or victim shame. You know? And when we talk about the police is a reflection of society.
True.
So, are there good people in society? Yes. Are there bad people in society? Yes. Is the attitude towards enabling rape something that thrives in society? Yes. Then you would find that in the police stations. But how do we treat our clients? I'm a survivor of rape several times. I'm a survivor of a lot of sexual and gender-based violence, and so I know real time how people need support and how availability of real time support, is something that should never be taken for granted. Now, such a thing happens to people. In fact, when we talk about rape, I don't know why people dwell a lot on rape because so many times they'll say, well, it wasn't rape, it was just attempted rape. It was just this.
Which one is
Sexual-
attempted rape? I don't get it.
Oh,
When you are raped, you're being raped.
Oh, okay. So there are people who have argued, okay, well, I just got the person to play with me. Okay, I didn't actually penetrate. I just rubbed the edges.
Oh my
I just did this. I'm bringing these dynamics because all of them fall within the same category. They are all physical violence of sexual nature. So, well, there's also the verbal violence of sexual nature, but this, that kind of violence, somebody has experienced that kind of thing. The very first thing you want to establish is, did the person consent to being in the sexual activity? Most of the times the answer is no. The first time the person said no is the first time the person lost interest. Now let me tell you a little about the God that I have been able to study. I believe that God made humans deliberately, such that when things get to sexual activity, as long as you are interested in it, your body does different things to ensure that you participate effectively, right?
True.
Or you enjoy participation. As a woman, I have lived in a woman's body, in a female's body for all my life. And so I would know authoritatively that it's the moment you start enjoying something that your body secretes fluids to ensure that you do not have injuries. So when you're not imposing yourself on me and you're bruising me left, right, and center in places that are usually moist, how then do they heal? Afterwards, how do you expect me to keep a smile on my face? If I'm not able to communicate to you that, you have no idea what you are doing there, or my body does not want you, or I'm not interested in participating.
And then sometimes you worry how these men enjoy sex when the other person is not participating.
It's interesting to also point out here that women rape women. It's not only men that rape women.
Another dimension.
I mean, rape is penetration without consent. And that was where I was going to when I spoke about the beauty of how God created the human anatomy, right?
Yeah.
And so when you hear a complaint, the first thing you want to establish is consent. To what extent, were you a willing participant to the sexual activity? And so many times you find out that people want to make me understand how children who the law does not recognize as adults, who cannot vote or be voted for, who cannot own accounts, to themselves and run accounts freely, consented to sexual activity. So anybody under 18 years old is a child and cannot consent to sexual activity.
True.
And thus you have raped.
Exactly.
That's one. Then it's an adult, or it's an adult. And you say, oh, well, we're adults. No. The question is, if I slap you, you are not the one. It's not me that will tell you whether the slap was painful or not. It is you, the receiver, that will tell me the extent to which you feel. I can look at your face and say maybe you look like you have a smile, or you look like there are tears in your eyes. But I can't quantify the extent to which you feel hurt. So the person that determines who feels hurt is the person who hurt was done to.
Exactly.
Shame, big shame to all the family members and every other person who is trying to determine the extent. Okay, so enough time has passed, by now you should have forgotten things. We don't forget. The most random of things could be triggers. It's as easy as if your family member is the person who is your perpetrator. Just seeing a family photograph of a functional system can be a trigger. Road to school, trigger. Need to go to market, trigger. Need to enter a public transportation, trigger. Need to write exam, trigger. Newspaper publication or news headlines, ASU goes on strike, trigger.
What should the police begin to do?
Yeah.
What do we expect
Issues of
to
policing,
see?
that was the final thing I was going to come to. When we talk about policing, the duplicity of policing roles can never be forgotten. NAPTIP has some law enforcement role it plays. Police. Nigerian police force, police. Of course, there are different aspects of the police, there are different departments and things. The forest hunters, policing role. Vigilante, policing role. Civil defense, policing role. The what do they call those people? The Islamic policing system. The people that control traffic during mosque.
During mosque.
Good. They have policing role as well. So it's a wide range of groups of people playing the policing role. But the question is, the capacity of the Nigerian police force, the standards to which we hold the Nigerian police force accountable, is it applicable to all the other ones? Is there a cordial relationship between all these systems that play policing roles to ensure the quality of policing does not drop at any point? Is there referral done to the appropriate office that has the mandate, when things arise? We have multiple laws. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law is domiciled with NAPTIP, and so the trafficking laws too are also domiciled with NAPTIP. The sexual crimes of sexual nature with the VAP and with the NAPTIP law. The basic criminal codes, whatever it is, Child Rights Act, all of them, mostly domiciled with the police. All of them need action. Now, when you walk into an office, the first thing is, are the services survivor centered? If the services are not survivor centered, then there's a failure. And, if it's survivor centered, then you have an opportunity to hear the person. And then when you hear my story, oh, na rape. Last week, you get person wey come here and na the same rape matter. It's not the same rape matter. The contexts are different. The things people want are different. Some people have been raped, but all they want is an apology. Some have been raped, and all they want is the person to get away from society because they know the person is not repentant. Some have been raped, and they want not only an apology and the person to get away from society, they need damages to be paid. You are not the one that is going to determine to people. But we see a lot of forced settlements in law enforcement institutions. Say una no get money now, but you want justice. Okay, we'll just see wetin e fit bring. And then the perpetrator brings 10,000 naira, brings 20,000 naira, 100,000 naira. And families take these things and say, no worry, after 2 weeks you go forget. We never forget.
Now, in as much as these issues are very dicey and very touchy and very painful, 10,000 naira, this is something you will live the whole of your life thinking about. And of course, you know that our society doesn't give us the opportunity to go for counseling, seek help, and all, except maybe NGOs like yours who help victims to find succor, But again, we know that the penalty for rape is life imprisonment. How many people have really gone to prison?
Several people.
Hmm.
Several people. There's a sex offenders register, which is domiciled and active.
Hmm.
But my problem is that a lot of sex offenders, convicted sex offenders, from Edo State, real time, sex offenders are transmitted, are synced with the sex offenders register. But we had a case of conviction immediately after the COVID lockdown. Until date,
Yes.
that case has not gone on the sex offenders register. You know, and we go to the sex offenders register, you see some people with names, no face. Did they forget their faces when they were when they were being convicted?
Hmm.
Because the importance of the sex offenders register is that people who run institutions with vulnerable persons, is the people who run institutions that have vulnerable persons go to the sex offenders, are mandated to go to the sex offenders register to cross-check before they employ
People.
staff. So if the sex offenders register is lacking in quality and quantity,
When
then-
there's a name, no face.
whether name or no face, or the thing has not been transmitted yet, years after, then at what point do we have the system, actually enjoying the intended purpose of establishment of the sex offenders register, which by no means was cheap. It's just too many things at the same time. And then you raised an issue about counseling and access to counseling. The stigma around mental health issues, because exposure to trauma puts you on the disability spectrum, whether we like it or not. Depression, anxiety are all on the disability spectrum. And instead of people to recognize how these things can play, the roles these things play in our lives, they want us to keep quiet. So it's easier for people to take us for deliverance than for them to let us to go in, to see therapists amongst other things. And that, is part of what is killing us. Now, access to services. We cannot prevent sexual violence from happening if we don't have people of influence, leaders of faith and culture. If we don't have the government, the willpower of these people to do the right thing. We need more safe spaces. Who is in charge of malls? Are all the malls safe? What are the sexual harassment policies? Corporate Affairs Commission needs to stop registering businesses until there are mandatory safeguarding clauses, committing that if any sexual violation happens in their premises, they would report. The reason is because construction workers or construction sites are everywhere. And these people, the amount of rapes that happen, especially of people hawking goods. They say it's our laborers that did it. It is not our staff. Vicarious liabilities, accrue to the owners of the site, the people who are functioning on the site. And so safeguarding must be taken more seriously everywhere as a matter of practice. Way forward, what is not budgeted for is not prepared for.
Exactly.
Gender budgeting is abysmal. There's a lot of irresponsibility from the government despite all the fantastic things that are being done. But the grounds to cover by far outweigh the grounds that have been covered. The consolidation on the things that have been done are still begging to happen simply because implementation of the laws are taken as a joke. And you cannot tell me how I feel. So you can't come up with amendments to the VAT law or whatever without the pertinent voices in the room like my voice. I'm a survivor of sexual violence, unapologetically so. I didn't beg to be violated by anybody, but I know my experiences and I know how it relates to my attitude to going to the market, my access to funding, my mental health, my expressions in any way. So nobody can tell my story better than I can. And so if you must do something for people like me, you must do it with people like me. And I don't have to be in any political party before I get the support that I need. That is a big problem.
Because, of course, we know again that most times perpetrators have influence.
Yes, because
of that, they get protection.
Yes.
And then because you don't have the influence to pursue the case or push it further, you will now have to deal with the trauma for the rest of your life.
Even when I have the influence, the degree of empowerment I need, the dynamics are different, right? But if you say there's an empowerment structure, please let the empowerment structure not need me to belong to a political party before I earn the empowerment. A lot of victims of violence are dependent on their perpetrators. And so where there are no safe systems to go to, they just keep hanging out with their perpetrators and enduring and praying to God for an opportunity.
Is that one supposed to be stock-up syndrome, or they don't have a choice?
What choice do they have? Realistically, I run a shelter. I run a survivor support center. Who is funding us? Are businesses supporting us? Mostly the answer is no. Do we have individual social responsibility? Mostly the answer is no. We pay school fees. We pay everything. The average cost of a meal right now is 1,500 naira per plate. Per meal.
That's
3 meals a
sometimes
day.
without meat.
Definitely, of course, I'm talking without. Or with small or more maybe. 3 meals a day is 4,500 naira per person. Multiply that by 26, you have 117,000 naira every day.
So you mean the government of Nigeria does not have a
Let me
safe
give you the
space,
breakdown.
a shelter for victims?
Hold on, 117,000 naira every day. If by 30 multiply, you have 3,510,000 naira every day. Food alone. I haven't spoken about medical bills. I haven't spoken about feeding. You heard from somebody who has been on a facility for over 4 years. How are we able to cope in this economy that is,
Healthcare.
how are we able to cope? It's an abysmal failure that the planning is not done right. And does the government have facilities? There's a lot of lack of implementation that has happened. Otherwise, I sat on the Interministerial Committee on the Eradication of Gender-Based Violence under the Muhammad Buhari administration post-COVID. And I saw the wonderful things that the government wanted to do. What happened to all those things? A lot of them are politicized. If you don't belong to a political party, the benefits that are supposed to come to survivors don't even get to you.
Wow.
And so for those of us who run private shelters, we're begging for help. Do you have solar systems? Please, we need those solar school bags. We need solar, power. The cost of power is expensive.
If the villa wants to
go solar. Help us.
That means there's no hope for light in Nigeria.
Good. Now we need inverter friendly appliances. Because the power consumption of the other ones are making it very difficult for us to cope. All our women in the shelter, a shelter is a crisis and transitional shelter. Difference. Crisis shelter up to 10 days, after post-exposure to trauma. Transitional, you're in the process of transiting, so up to 2-3 months. But in 8 months, most of the people who have come to our facility are not ready to leave. And so we need help for first year rent. Before, one single room, we could find 200,000, 300,000. Now, if you don't have your 6, 7, 800,000 for rent alone, minus 20%, what's that thing? Agency fee and caution deposit, which will run into 100. So I'd say 1 million naira now. And I'm not talking even about the mattress you put on the floor or the things in the kitchen for eating, basic survival. We need help. It is human lives that are affected. And until we understand that if we build the capacity of the lives that are affected, then the economy is better off, then we'll keep making excuses. Not be waiting person where be the cause of rape. It's not that there's no justification. But whatever the violence it is.
Very, very annoying questions they ask you.
Whatever the cause of the violence
even
it
ask,
is.
what took you there?
Or you have made a man of God to sin. So since you have made a man of God to sin, just be praying for him. God will heal him. And then, who will heal me? See, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Should not go on vacation because your penis needs temporary satisfaction or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's a reminder of the fact that the access to justice in Nigeria is very expensive.
That's true.
And we need to have more waivers. Protection orders are not readily available. When children are affected and they are out of school, they need to move to the shelter. We do not find any public schools to place them in so that their education is not affected. And then the coping mechanisms that children are coming up with are dangerous by the day. Where is the future of Nigeria? This future, you are the future leaders, future generation. This is a practical way that the future of Nigeria is threatened. So we need to have that, sorted out.
Okay, so we really talked about what government has not been doing. But would you see anything? Is there anything at all that government is doing?
Absolutely. I mentioned there's a lot that has been done. The sex offenders register is a thing. Establishment of sexual assault referral centers across several states. Very much supported by ROLAC and the rest of them. The Spotlight Initiative had one-stop centers, and there's so many private shelters. It's going on well. I know Braveheart Initiative has supported in so many ways for access to justice, especially in Edo
But these
State.
are all NGOs.
No,
government?
Braveheart has supported the government to take initiative. So you
Okay.
see the symbiosis. I'm now telling you that the relationship that is
Working
supposed
together.
to exist between government and civil society has, positively yielded results. And there are things on ground. The laws that have come to play, the conversations around amendments of the laws, these are things that are happening. The investments of the first ladies or wives or spouses of governors in publicizing these laws at state level or in funding services for survivors, no matter how meager, these are practicable things that are happening. But we need them to be better institutionalized. We need to know where somebody like me that needs funding and has fantastic support, fantastic abilities, can access, and my intellectual property will be recognized as collateral for me to access funding I need. Because at the end of the day, you go to the Bank of Industries and Co. The criteria for collateral to get funding, by the time you want, somebody says, this money that you want, what do you want it for? Okay, come and meet me. I still just want your signature, you to be my guarantor because you have the capacity. So we need more resources getting into the hands of more women. And we also remember that a lot of women have endured the violence that we are speaking concretely against over time. And so sometimes the resources we are looking for are in the hands of pick-me women. You're not the only one this thing has happened to. By now, you should have forgotten about it and the rest of them. When people hear you, they don't hear victimization. They hear, what's that thing? Seeking for attention. Whatever
a woman telling a fellow woman.
It does see, there are good women, there are bad women. There are good men, there are bad men. So when we're talking about perpetrators and victims, let's remember that there are men that are perpetrators. There are men that are victims. There are women that are perpetrators and there are women that are victims. And that is why I pride myself as a human rights advocate. And why do I say human rights? Because irrespective of your gender, whether you're male, female, or in between, you are an emotional being with human rights.
That's it.
If we have the standard, the goalpost should stop shifting when it is time for me, to enjoy my rights. The goalpost should stop shifting when it is time for me to hold you to account for what you are supposed to be. Everybody has rights and responsibilities.
Exactly.
So when we're trying to strike the balance, I don't think it is fair for me to continually be on the losing end to prove I'm a virtuous woman. The Lord knows how virtuous I am. I'm not needing to prove it to any human being. And that is enough for me.
My goodness, this issue, it's so broad, wide, that we know we cannot contain just by one sitting. While I was coming in and preparing for my show, something came to mind. I said, I hope Dorothy doesn't take over the program. But of course she did. But the only thing is that she didn't ask me the questions. I was rather asking her the questions. And I'm so glad that you made yourself available to continue to fight for the rights of women in Nigeria. And
who will tell the story better than those who know?
Yeah. So you were also a victim, and then it's easier for you to understand when other victims are speaking.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making it a very interesting program.
Yeah.
And then we hope that when we call you next, you'll make yourself available. We've heard from her, and then we've heard from our victim, and we will continue to see and continue to push to ensure that victims get justice and government does what they need to do to ensure that everybody is in a safe environment. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Punariman Benjamin. Until we come your way again next time with another edition. Thank you and bye-bye.
family life, all